Okay.
So I might need to drink some.
What? Is that what the kids doing?
Boy, you better ask Kelly if that's the right person.
Kelly's is right? Yeah, because she keeps telling me, no, Mom, they don't do that
levels.
Anymore.
The woe has faces, man.
Right, it's different types. So,
who has the power?
If you watch our previous video, we left you guys hanging.
So I watched the episode of Marriage Bootcamp, and they asked the couples. Now, mind you, these were couples that were having problems. So I hope me and my wife don't create a problem by exploring this question.
Not Jesus.
We're not. I'm just kidding. And they asked the question, well, who has the power in a relationship? Now, I struggle with this question because it can mean so many things. But I asked my wife at the end of our last video who has the power, and I think we had a little bit of disagreement. So
I don't think we had a disagreement, baby. Be honest.
Now, mind you, we have not discussed this before this video, so what y'all are seeing is real and uncut.
It may get ugly. It may get ugly here. Don't judge us.
So, you were saying?
I was saying that I have the power in our relationship and I have the power in our home.
Please explain.
That doesn't mean that you're not the leader of this household. But I'm the center. Mommy is the center, even with baby. Terrell is grown, he doesn't live here, but we have Kelly, and she understands that I'm the center of the household. Unfortunately, you guys really love to cater to me and take care of me, and a lot of the things that we do are kind of based upon me. That doesn't necessarily make it right, but I know a lot of the way you operate is based upon if I'm going to be okay with it. Mm-hmm. And I think the same with Kelly. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's an unhealthy thing or if we need a therapist, but it's the truth. How I'm feeling, if I'm in a bad mood, I can ruin the mood of the home. I have a huge impact. Overall, I feel. So I do think that I hold a lot of power in our house.
I think that was true for a very long time.
Okay.
But I think that we've gotten to the point to where we kind of share power.
It's getting better.
Because I feel like when we were in that mode,
it is getting better.
When we were in that mode, it actually caused quite a bit of conflict. Because it, as for me, it kind of pushed me into kind of losing my identity a little bit. Because if you weren't happy with what was going on, then it wasn't going to happen. Right?
And it actually kind of irritated me.
Right.
Because you would determine, like, you wouldn't do something because you think, oh, it's going to irritate me or make me mad. And I'm like, you can't think about me all the time. Just make a decision.
Right.
So it was a little bit of irritating for me. And then I know even parenting-wise, it was a conflict because Kelly wouldn't do a lot of stuff. Oh, Mommy's not doing it. I ain't going to be able to be there. Now I'm feeling like everything can operate without me.
Yeah, and I think, I think this last year has been a big shift and not necessarily taking the power from you, but learning how to share that power. Mm-hmm. Because I've become a big influence in the house as far as exercise, as far as, because I did a program last year and now everybody in the house is eating healthy,
Yes, I think that was a big change.
And I want to be transparent. I don't know how much of this you're going to keep. I want to be transparent as I think I went through a transition mentally where I was a leader in our household. I ran everything. I definitely had the power. I made a decision to go start my own business, which if any of you guys have ever started a business, financially in the beginning, things are choppy. So you go from being the head of the household financially and in every aspect to, now you have to lean on your wife. I think I went through a kind of a phase where I was my confidence was kind of challenged and I had to reinvent myself and understand that money, this is good. I had to redefine myself. And first of all, understand that money did not define who I was. Money is just a means of exchange, right? So me, Kelly James, is what makes the money. So do you understand what I'm saying? Like, so I had to get back to, okay, you are the shit. Like, you are that guy.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I always think you are.
Right?
Yeah.
But, and once I had that back, the money started coming too, which is interesting, right? And not that I didn't feel I needed to necessarily take the power away from you, which is important. And I want to make sure we get that point, is because I think the power struggle is what can break a marriage. But if we say, hey, it's not necessarily about you having the power or me having the power. We have the power to influence our household, and not necessarily even equally. Sometimes it's going to be 100% you. Sometimes it's going to be 100% me. But I had to get that back in order to be an influence in the household again, because I really feel like I lost it for a while, if I'm being honest. I really feel like I kind of took a back seat because, growing up poor, right? At the age of 24, 25, from 25 until I started my business at, 40, like 39, 40, I made ridiculous amounts of money, and then I go start a business and I have to start all over. And now I'm like, oh, well, my wife is making more money, right? Like, like at that time.
But you know what? I feel like that was such, that was one of those, how in a relationship there's different levels.
Right.
And transitions that you make. And that was one of them for us.
Right.
That dynamic switching made me stronger.
Right.
Strong enough for you to do what it was that you needed to do.
Right.
And so, I think that was a really important time, and I'm glad that we had to go through that.
I think it was important.
I was fine. I know you were having some things, but I was totally fine watching you go through it.
The reason why I feel like it was important is because if that would have stayed my identity, I would have eventually been broken.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if my identity is completely attached to my status in a corporation, well, what happened if I got laid off? Like what's happening right now. You know what I'm saying? And right now, even in my business, if my business was not doing well, it's doing great now. But if I wasn't doing well, I'm no longer, that no longer defines me as a man. It no longer defines me as a person.
This is really
Does that make sense though?
Yeah, this is really this is good.
It's good.
Right.
Let's get
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean though?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I think when I got that back, and a lot of things happened to get that back. I finished my degree. I lost weight again. Yeah. And really just, whether those things are there or not. But the funny thing about it is after I've done all of that, you kind of do it and you're like, wow, I don't even know if I even needed to do all of those things to get here, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Because doing it made me realize I never needed it in the first place. Does that make sense?
Oh my Lord.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
I never needed the degree, but
I'm glad I did it.
But if I wouldn't have done it, I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have learned that about myself.
That it was already there.
It was, yeah. So I didn't know this conversation was going to turn into that.
That was good. That was good. One question.
What
was that question again?
Who has the power in the relationship? I think we both do. I feel like we both do.
I think we both do. We resolved that.
We resolved that. And we will have power shifts from time to time, but I think what's most powerful about us is that we're okay with that, and neither one of us will lose our identity. And I have to say this, I do believe that there was a time where my wife lost her identity because I was in a power position. And I remember you used to get very frustrated when you felt like I was looking down on you.
Especially when I was being a stay-at-home mom. Oh my God. I was a child.
Yes.
It's not a stay-at-home mom type of girl.
So now both of our identities have had an opportunity to transition, and now we've learned how to not just to share the power, but at the same time, if you're in a power position, I'm okay with being the support. And if I'm in a power position, you're okay. And that to me is like, that's what makes a power couple.
Woo! And on that note, who has the power in your relationship?
Let us know.
Let us know.
Let us know what y'all think about this topic. I thought it was good.
Yeah, that was good. Good conversation.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Peace.